Sat Shri Akal ji, welcome to the show. My name is Manpreet Singh,
I'm Tania Kaur.
and today we want to talk about finances because this is a big topic
Yep.
that couples deal with when they get
Mm-hmm.
together. It's causes for a lot of divorce, at least in America.
Mm-hmm.
Finances, like always, the top five reasons. So let's share our story on finances,
Yeah.
where we are, what the Punjabi community does, and how they either save money or blow money. And yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we first got married, even before that, I was single, and so I used to, just go out and hang out, and I would spend money like I'm a millionaire. I would just go out with my friends and just be like getting the most expensive stuff, just spend money
When you were working.
when I was working.
Yeah.
Yeah, my job, no
Yeah.
responsibilities, and I would just go out and spend money like I owned the place. And but I know that wasn't the right thing to do. Now I look back at it, I wish I like got into investing a lot earlier. But when we got married, I vowed to myself that, okay, I'm going to learn everything I need to know about this
Mm.
finance game. I don't want anyone to scam me. I don't want any advisors. I want to learn this by myself
True.
because I'm like, okay, how could we make our money and our income grow and set a better future for ourselves and all those
Yeah.
things. But yeah, that was my thing. Like, okay, we have to get this part right. I mean, relationship, love, of course, that part needs to be there. But people's financial health and
Yes.
couples' financial health, I think that's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's not talked about enough, when we're dating, or if you're looking to get married, and this is going to be the one. I don't know if that's really a top conversation that comes up. How are we going to handle our finances? Because I've learned now, there are important things to put in place when you're just starting out. Even if you're single and you're just working, you should have certain things in place to benefit you, like down the road. But yeah, I've seen it. When we got married, I saw you put in the time, listening to it at nights, in the mornings when you're getting ready for work. When you're eating, it was nonstop listening to this financial expert, that one, this guy, this lady, that lady. I heard them all. Even in my sleep, I would hear them, because once you got it in your head that you have to learn it all, you did it. And I think, that's to my benefit too.
Right.
That you put in that time in the beginning, because you didn't know, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't work really up until maybe a little bit before we got married. I didn't really have a job at 16 or 17. So yeah, I spent money too, though. That was my parents' money.
Yeah. No, I mean, because before we got married, and I think this is like a Punjabi thing, my probably
Yeah.
an Indian thing in general, or an Asian thing, or an immigrant thing. But the only thing learned from my parents in terms of money management was don't have any debt. That's all I learned.
Mm,
It's like debt is bad. Don't have any debt. Just get rid of the debt as fast as you can and save
yeah.
your money.
Yeah.
Right? Don't buy dumb stuff. Be frugal. Be cheap. Whatever.
Even
But
if it's broke,
mm,
don't buy it.
right,
If it
right.
needs to be replaced, don't buy it. No.
And I get why my parents said that
Yeah.
because they're immigrants, they're hardworking people,
Yeah.
labor jobs, blue collar jobs.
Yep.
So each penny, each hour counted,
Mhm.
in their lives.
Yes.
And so that's what they knew. But I knew there was more. I knew like I wanted to be an investor and not just someone that just consumes things. I want to invest in as many things as I could.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's why I wanted to learn everything that I could about investing and then making our money grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think our parents, they did the best they could, obviously,
Mm.
but they had something different on their mind. They just wanted to work hard and save, 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 save. Because they had little kids, they had families to support, and they came from nothing
Yeah.
oftentimes, right? So they didn't have the luxury to think about, oh, where can I put this money now? Where can I have this extra money, so it'll like help us? So they didn't really have that, I think, extra to think about. It was more about, let's save, let's buy that house, let's save, to put them through school, let's save so we can, keep paying our mortgage. So I think that was pretty much what they thought about. So our cases were different because we grew up pretty much spoon fed and supported by our parents for so long that we were able to think about other things.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
but I do think girls and guys, especially maybe in Punjabi culture, we are taught, at least I didn't think about money. Like the conversation never came up about, how are you going to balance your bank account? How do you support yourself? It was more about, yeah, get a job, you need to support yourself. But there was so much other stuff like balancing a checkbook, you know, do you pay yourself first and then you pay your bills, or pay your bills first, or then you save up with whatever little you have left. Like I never thought about those things until we
Yeah.
got married.
I know. I know. It's I don't know if my sisters did either.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, and I wasn't taught that much either.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth,
And
I was
schools
just
don't do
it
a
was just
good
like don't
job.
spend your money on dumb stuff and don't have debt was my
Yeah.
two things. But so when we got together, this might be a hot take, but I always thought that couples that don't combine their finances
Mm.
are crazy. Like I don't know why any couple would do that. Like I just don't get it. Like it never.
Yeah.
I still don't get it. I still don't get it. You're married from sickness to health to death, do us
Yeah.
apart, but you cannot have access to my checking account. Like we're keeping our finances separate. It's just like a weird
I'll
thing.
help you out if you need it. That's fine.
But it's weird for me when couples
Yeah.
uh, don't combine their finances or keep
Mm.
it separate and just have like a combined account to pay bills and
Yeah.
all that. So I'm like, what is love and marriage? And people with kids do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I find that very strange. I might be totally off here because I am of the belief that it's not my money or your money, it's our money.
Hmm.
Like, who cares who makes more? It doesn't really matter. What matters is who spends more. But we'll get to that. But it doesn't really matter because it's our money. We're building this together.
Yeah.
This is our empire that we're trying to create. So
Yeah.
why would it be separate? You should know every dollar that's going in and out. I should know every dollar that's going in and out. So
Hmm.
then we can make more dollars.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree. I think definitely we we kind of had things in place because you learned so much and you were like, this is the right way. Let's do this. But
I mean, you didn't
what are
have
you talking
strong
about?
money opinions. You didn't have any strong money
I was
opinions.
gonna
So
say
when we
something.
did combine our money together, and I'm like, oh, it's going to be in this, let's open up a bank account.
Yeah.
All our money will be pooled here. There were no like, oh no, I want my money and my job, and there was none of that. You're like,
Mm.
yeah, okay, great,
Yeah.
and that's a
Yeah.
good thing and a bad thing, but that's because it's a good thing because it's like that. I think that's how it's supposed to happen.
Hmm.
A bad thing, you're like, you didn't really care for the money either. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. That's
Yeah.
all good. The money's there. I just want the credit card or whatever, as long as these bills are paid. But yeah, so I think that's a thing that couples go through, and I think that's like part of their money issues too. I don't know if Punjabi couples do that. I'm not sure about the younger generation,
Yeah.
but if you just go at your marriage and you combine your finances, there's a lot of synergy there to go and
Hmm.
make something bigger because you're not thinking about money anymore.
Yeah.
You're just not. You're thinking about other things you can do with the money you're making together,
Right.
not separating your checking accounts and savings account and
Yeah.
doing all those things.
I
It's
think
more
it's also about giving up control. Like, I'm just trying to think from a girl's perspective. Why would she want to keep her finances separate to some extent? Maybe, she wants to feel that independence. She wants to be like, no, I can stand up on my own 2 feet. I can support myself and we can still be together and support each other. We don't have to have everything together. I think there's a little bit of a control thing there too, that once you give up your account, you're kind of giving up control too, because then you have somebody else who can come in and kind of see, where are you spending, where are you saving. So it, it's kind of, you're vulnerable. It's hard to be vulnerable sometimes,
right,
right, when you are used to being independent.
right,
But it goes back to, if you really love each other, you want to be a team, you want to build an empire, you want to be a unit. I think there's no other way than you have to combine the finances. Like you have to have one account. You have
Right.
to both be aware of like where is this account? How much money do we have, or what's going into it and what's going out. But I think that's kind of where it stems from when people do want to keep it separate. It's more maybe because the girls kind of feel like I don't want to give up my independence
Yeah, I
because
totally get that.
yeah,
And that's
because
probably one of the
girls,
reasons.
let's face
But
it, I think girls spend a little bit more most of the time than guys do, so
I've seen that.
so when I want to spend money on certain things, I know you don't care for those things. Like I
Right.
want to buy stuff for the house. I want to buy, certain clothes for the kids, and you probably don't have an opinion one way or another, or your opinion most of the time is we don't need it.
Yeah.
But that's not the right opinion
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's got to be. I think that also comes down to if it's our money, even if you don't agree with where I'm spending it sometimes, it's okay. Like you just got to be like, all right, that's fine,
Yeah, but these conversations should be, I think it's healthy to have these before you
Yeah.
get married. Are you
Yeah.
a spender, saver? What do you like? I mean, if you're dating somebody, you'll know what they like. Like, you know
Right.
what they're spending a lot of money on. Like one of the things I loved about you, you didn't care.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
Right.
I honestly do not care about branded clothes and
Yeah, me
watch.
neither.
This is like a Punjabi thing. This is not, and Punjabis are known to be flamboyant and all into the fufa and all about wearing the good clothes, the good shoes, having the good
Yeah.
car, the watches, and the music
We
videos are
like to
like,
live big.
yeah, the music videos are like that now. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, that's cool if you have fu money, that's great, but Punjabis spend a lot of money and time
Yeah.
there, and it's not, I'm not into that. Even if I could afford it, and now
Yeah.
we could, and I don't really care for those things still. I still like my $6 t-shirts, my $30 Levi's. I'm totally cool with all those things, but it's just one of those things that a couple when they get when they're getting to know each other, you'll see, like, I know you weren't into like, oh, this is my purse costs $500 and this and that, and maybe
Yeah.
I wouldn't probably even be attracted to that. So you got to know that
Mm.
person too when you get married,
Yeah.
and that and that
No,
and that could
I
be
agree.
those could be things that you might have some conflicts on, but
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that people need conversations with,
Yeah.
like, beforehand, and so then you won't get into that mix of. I think it's healthy.
Right.
I think financial conversations are healthy conversations before you get married.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it also goes back to, how do you define success? Yeah, people like to if
Yeah.
you like nice things, that's great. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you still want to purchase those nice things, but you know that okay, you're having trouble kind of supporting yourself and paying those bills, then I think that also shows a little bit of responsibility and maturity that all right, this can go on the back burner. We got to take care of our bills first, our household first, our we're a team now. But in Punjabi community, I have to say, success, or maybe in most uh,
Immigrant communities.
immigrant communities, success is defined as having that nice car, that big house, nice things. You're wearing the brand name clothes. Like even our parents would be happy if like we bought a BMW or a Mercedes, like
I mean,
But
our car right now is pretty high end. I ain't gonna lie.
right, but we just
Let's not.
got it now.
Let's not. Yeah. Let's not. I don't want to mislead people. Like, oh, they're probably driving. No, it's a pretty high end car. There's no doubt. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you love that car
I love that. I
specifically.
love that
We've been
car.
married 13 years. We have
Yeah. Yeah.
not bought a high-end car like that
No.
before this car we have now because
Yeah.
you just love Teslas.
Yeah. 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 And yeah.
So, but I agree. We're not. I think we're both similar in that we're just simple in the sense that I never really cared about brands or the
Yeah.
shoes or the bag. Um, but you do learn when you get married, like what is important to you. Where do you want to spend the money,
Sure.
right? So I've learned, of course, like because of things that you've put in place, but spend money on things that you're going to use every day, right?
Yeah.
Things, you know, like
Yeah.
I like to make sure we have good food in the house. If I can buy like good quality food and meats and eggs, I want to do that. That's where I'm most happier spending my money rather than, getting a high end bag, which I'm probably going to use like once or twice every 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's how I think of it. It's not that we can't maybe get it. It's just that, do I really want it? Do
Yeah.
I really need it? So,
Yeah.
but
But now that I think about it, if I look back at my dad, my chachas, tayas, fufers, everybody in that family, mamas, no, they had money. Everyone still has money, but they dress like it's okay. It doesn't need to be fashionable or no high end stuff.
mm,
My tayaji, who was probably the wealthiest in the family, he's no longer here, um, and nicest human being ever. He dressed like he was a first year student somewhere. Like he didn't care about
yeah,
any of those things. So I don't know. Maybe it's inherent in me that I don't care either.
could be.
But it's just like he really I think he went a little too extreme. But he that's the way he was.
Yeah,
You
he
know, he
loved
didn't
his
care.
Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, he loved his Hawaiian shirts, but he had the gift of giving,
Yes.
which a lot of Punjabis don't. But he had and Sikhs don't, unfortunately. But he would write checks, big checks to people for charities, but he
Mm,
just wouldn't spend it on himself. And he's a great guy. Was a great guy. But yeah, maybe that's where I get it from because I don't see them, doing all those things. So I'm like, okay,
yeah.
that's just me. But my point is that that's the conversations that couples should have and Punjabi
Hmm.
couples should have about like who you want to be, what you want to build.
Yeah.
I do think love and marriage is way more important than money,
Hmm.
but you got to build that money side too and make sure that you guys are on the same page
Yeah.
to create something great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's very important to have those conversations, which we didn't have them in the beginning in our marriage. We didn't really, it wasn't even a conversation
Yeah.
actually. But I just knew that, okay, if you wanted to make this decision and we should allocate our finances and our funds this way, then let's do it. I kind of just let you assume that role because I was no expert. I didn't know anything about finances. So, um, but I think very happily now, like we have that luxury of, we can afford to, be comfortable and then also buy things that we want. But for a long time, we did support ourselves. We lived with our parents. We were able to save. We didn't splurge. We went on vacations, but we
Yeah,
didn't
that's where
like,
we splurge. That's where
right,
we spend more money than probably anybody
right.
is on these
But when
vacations.
we were not on,
But
even then,
but we saved and we invested.
yes,
So
exactly.
saved and invested that money. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. To make
S
more money to buy this house.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, by the way.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's important to have those conversations. So my point was that what's the goal? Like
Mm,
with us, we want to kind of build more wealth, right? We want to do other things other than just our job and have like a financial cushion. So that's conversations you should be having with your spouse. Like, what's the goal here? What does success mean to us, to the both of us?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and how can we achieve that? But if there was a time where we were both like, okay, I think we need to cut back. We need to kind of rethink our focus, where we need to spend really, and not what we want. Then we would do that right away.
yeah,
It wouldn't be
yeah,
hard for us to kind of downsize or to just live frugally for a while if we had to. So I think you got to be ready to pivot when you have to make those decisions, when you're a team and you're like, all right, we need to kind of change our focus here. We need to save more. So it's very important, I think, in marriage, especially in Punjabi culture, to talk about, because
I-
we weren't taught these things.
in Punjabi culture, one of the things that we do that is not good is we have men control the finances.
Hmm.
And I've seen it in maybe 9 out of the 10 couples. The men control like the finances, controlling in the sense that paying the bills, putting all the money together, and then making sure it's spent wisely
Hmm.
without the woman really being involved. So we should change that. But I also
Yeah.
think it's like Punjabi women too, and you're a case in this too, where I've told you, like, I think we got to sit down. I got to let you know where all this
I
money is, how it's
know.
invested, all these
I know.
accounts, these passwords, life insurances,
Yeah.
like all these things, and you have no interest. And I've seen that with my other cousins and my friends, and their wives have no interest. It's like, so we're
I
just,
know.
it's not like we're stuck. We're like, okay, we're happily do it too. But it's like, we want you to be part of that. We want
Yeah.
you to come in and do these things. But the, the women I've seen, the Punjabi women I've seen have no interest in that. They just want to, they're okay with just, having a
Yeah.
credit card, swiping it everywhere, and it's be like, oh, okay, bills are paid, magic, yeah.
That's
But
success to me.
right,
No,
but
but
I
no,
think I
you're
think they
right. You're
need to get
right.
involved.
Yeah.
I, when couples get involved in this stuff, in these types of things, it's just better.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that brings you closer, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
No, no, totally. I mean, if people will change when they want to, I think
Yeah.
when there is a time where I feel like, all right, I really do need to get involved and I need to, you know, figure out what we're doing here and I need to be able to know everything, um, you know, I will. But it's just, I just think it's a confidence thing with me at least. I don't have that confidence with money, financial matters and stuff. Like, it's just something that never was required of me. And I feel like my time is better spent, doing other things that you can't do. And maybe that's another thing in our marriage that like those roles, it's working for us right now, but
Right.
when there's a time where we need to change or it's not working for us, then maybe that'll click in my head and I'll be like, all right, I need to,
Yeah.
you know, buckle down and, and learn all this.
Yeah. It's also
It
that
seems so complicated though sometimes.
it is complicated.
Yeah.
It is a little complicated. It's not as simple, but it's good to know just in
Yeah.
case something happens in life,
I know.
and you don't want to be all flustered and knowing where things are, accounts are,
Yeah.
passwords are. So I think those things are very important. But I do think the men need to give up that control too. Some men don't. Like, I know
Oh,
couples where
100%.
I would, ask about, or, they would tell me about money. They'd be like, oh, I don't know. Or, oh, we spent it here, but don't tell my husband that we spent this
Yeah.
money. And I'm like, okay. I mean, this is
Yeah.
not good. This is not good.
Yeah.
Money should not
It's
be a
tough.
money in a relationship. Money should not be an issue. Money should just be an enhancer of your relationship. It should not be a
Yeah.
conflict. It should not be a cause of worry. It should not be something that you hide. It's just money.
Yeah.
On top of that, it's just money. There's way more important things than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but money is very important too in terms of what you want to do in life. But people make it way too complicated. They're way too emotionally involved.
It's a
You
very
can't.
personal thing.
Yeah.
It's personal.
Yeah.
I think, and then when there are when there's conflict behind money with marriages, I think it's because of there's levels of dishonesty, there's fear of judgment, there's a lot of fears that come with that, and it goes back to how do you handle conflict in
Right.
general in your
Right.
marriage. Do you have that open space where you can talk about it and come to your spouse and be like, hey, I messed up, how can we fix this, and will you be supported or will you feel like you're being judged? And those are big fears, but I know money can be very personal. It can make or break relationships, marriages,
Right.
for sure. But Punjabi communities, definitely, I think a lot of men do hold the control, and then women kind of just don't want to stir up any conflict. So that's
Right.
tough.
Right. Right. And I hope that changes, but I
Yeah.
also hope one thing changes too that I'm seeing in Punjabi communities, especially Sikh communities, which is very sad,
Mm.
is the culture of giving is over. Like,
Mm.
I don't know anyone that like
Like the
does
Svand.
dasvand anymore. Like, where is your dasvand? Where is your money? Like, yes, you're making money, but fine. If it's not 10%, is it like 5? Like, where do you give? Like, how do you that is a big thing that the gurus taught us,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not about just hoarding all the money and buying all the great things, but what charitable donations are you making,
Yeah.
either with your money or your time or both,
Mm-hmm.
really? Like, where is that?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of organizations out there, sick organizations, non-sick organizations that need money. So, but the new generation, the culture of giving, I have not seen it. I have not seen it at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more about keeping it to yourself and making as much money. So I think that needs to be part of the conversation too.
I
You
think
know?
a lot of people do give their time. I know a lot of people who show up regularly, they give their time to sick organizations or gurdwaras and stuff like that. But giving up 10% of your money, that's tough, hard earned, even especially when you don't have a lot of it to begin with. But it goes back to, how do you think about money? Do you think that it's very limited? What are those initial thoughts? With me, I had to learn that money, you don't have to think about money as being limited. Yes, you spend wisely, but if your thought is always that it's limited, then I think that's how you're going to be. But if you have that thought that no, money will be in abundance, and much like maybe how you think about everything else that you want to create in your life, if you think of it as, maybe this is a little bit of like law of attraction or whatever you want to call it, but if you think of it as it's abundant or it will be in abundance, and I am able to give, I think it comes back to you. I think it
Yeah.
does, in your actions, in your thoughts. When those things align, you think like that, and your actions are like that. You are creating wealth. Maybe you just don't know it yet, but eventually you will create that life for yourself. Of course, hard work, and you have to work as a team. But I think
Yeah.
you can't always think about it as being fearful that you're not going to have enough. You
Yeah.
kind of just got to let that go,
You do. You do.
and work hard, and be able to give when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my man Gurdas has a great line where he's like, "Panji daan nahi karde, te rab
Mm.
to daulta mangde ne." And
Mm.
that's the world basically. The you give $10, Vaheguru is going to give you back 100.
Mhm.
That's how you think in your abundance. What you were
Mhm.
saying, that just triggered that thought.
Mhm.
Like that's what he says. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੋ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ 10 ਗੁਣਾ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਉਂਦਾ.
Yeah.
Yeah. ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਵੀ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ, ਪੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ. So don't think of it like that.
Yeah.
That's the Punjabi way. That is the true Punjabi way, I think.
Mhm.
Right. But now we've lost it in this world of just making more money in the rat race. But that
Yeah.
is the true Punjabi way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So nice. Let's end this on the cool thing that we saw this month, I would say.
Mm.
Diljit at the Met Gala.
Oh boy.
Bro, that thing was fire. That I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And I have my issues with Diljit here and
I
there.
know. I
But
know.
overall, I
Yeah.
really love the dude. And he is, when he wore that, of course, Maharaja Patiala, you think of all these Maharajas in the
Yep.
past. He wore it well, grew his body out a little more.
Mhm.
Like I thought he looked amazing. I
He
thought he was
did.
the best one of the Desis there.
Yeah. Apps 100%. Best one of the Desis. But I think he had that tour. He had that vibe, and as soon as he stepped out of that car, and I'm sure people who didn't even know him like turned around and be like,
Right,
okay,
right.
we see him. But he could have worn so many different things, I'm sure, but for him to make the choice to go with this ensemble, especially with the Punjabi akkad in the back,
Yes.
with the state of Punjab,
Yeah.
I mean, he spoke volumes without even like
Right.
talking,
Yeah.
so it was, yeah, he did a lot for a lot of Punjabis. For six Punjabis, like he put a lot of people on the map
Yeah.
because of his choices there.
No, no, he did. He did.
Yeah.
And I was talking to your brother, and I'm like, we spoke the next day when it was all over the internet, and I'm like, I bet you people are going to start doing this at their weddings.
Yeah.
Like guys are gonna start doing this at their weddings, and at the Shervani
Yeah.
style's fine, but that was more than a Shervani. I mean, he had the
Mhm.
pug, and then
He
the
had the
kalgi with
jewels.
the pearls, the jewels,
Yep.
and then he had the cape. And that
Yeah,
cape
and
is
the
what makes
kirpan.
and the kirpan. And that the cape kirpan makes you look like a sick superhero.
Mhm.
Really.
Yep.
So that I bet you we're gonna start seeing that because everyone wants to outdo each other in their weddings
Yeah,
and be something different, which is totally cool.
it's a
I think
Punjabi thing.
no, it's a Punjabi thing. The foomfa is there.
Yeah.
The foomfa is there.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. So props to Diljit, man.
Yeah,
Props to
100%.
Diljit. Love it. Hope he keeps going. That was just
Yeah.
awesome.
People are gonna
Yeah.
be talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Great. All right. Great podcast.